The Indiana County NAACP has big plans for Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We're going to talk about it this morning with Indiana County Commissioner Sherene Hess and with Carolyn Princess from the NAACP. Carolyn, are you there this morning?
I'm here.
Okay, we're going to try Sherene next, and we're going to try to conference you together. But as I explained to you, sometimes the phone gives us a little bit of a problem. So, Sherene, if you drop off here, just give me a call back. We're going to see if we can get Sherene on the line.
I'm here.
All right, you're both there. So it's working this morning. How about that?
Hooray.
It is Martin Luther King Jr. Day, a very special day coming up on Monday, and the Indiana County NAACP has a lot of good plans, including a big Zoom event. Carolyn, could you explain exactly what's going to be happening on Monday?
I will. Okay, so first of all, thank you for having us on this program this morning. Martin Luther King, we're having a Speak Out on Monday, January the 17th from 2 to 3:30 p.m. via Zoom. And we're doing it not only to honor Dr. King for all his work towards civil rights and social justice, but also we want to give people an opportunity to become part of the process of moving forward toward racial social justice. Mm-hmm. And so our theme is facing fears of the inevitable. We have several panelists we've invited to join in the conversation and provide an opportunity for folks of the community to voice their concerns and fears.
Sherene, of course, from a county level, you see things that maybe some of us don't see, and so you have worked with the NAACP for a lot of years as well to help develop this process here of this Zoom event coming up on Monday. What are some of the fears that are inevitable, as Carolyn puts it?
Yeah, and it's been my honor to be a part of NAACP for many years, and I think it's important for people to realize that even though they may not encounter people of color in their daily travels or their workplaces or things like that, especially in rural America, that the number of minority populations is growing, and in fact, in our last census, we saw that even though populations are diminishing altogether, the proportion of people of color is growing. And so we find that there are things that we need to kind of be thinking about a little bit more. The systems that everybody needs to sort of decipher, the education and housing and jobs and health care and economic opportunities. These are systems that still have elements of discrimination in them towards people of color. And that's what NAACP is about, and it doesn't tackle racism just in racial inequities. It does, it's a group that focuses on the inequities for all the, marginalized groups, LGBT communities and, people with disabilities and ageism and ethnic kinds of discrimination. So NAACP is really very timeless in that it was, formed for, in 50-some years ago now, but it is really a group that addresses and tackles issues of today.
Carolyn, it's interesting the way that Sherene just put that, but, people who cling to the American ideal might say, well, we as a society, as a constitutionally directed society, we've handled those problems and they shouldn't exist anymore. But the reality is that they do, don't they?
Right. Well, as president of the NAACP on a larger level, we seek to address the problems that not only of the past, but the problems that we see today. So the power and privilege is just a symptom of a major issue. And I think the way we can begin to solve these problems is by inviting I want to say common people who are not typically involved in these issues, to let us know what do they see and what do they fear, and make sure they understand some of the things that are going on. And so we can come up with a plan to get long-lasting change so that we won't go back and face some of the same kinds of things that we faced before in terms of racial social justice. So that's what we're about, racial and social justice for all, a society that benefits all people and not a select few. So those people who say that we've dealt with this in the past, the climate of our country and our community is such that we see that some of those things are still trying to reappear. And I think that one of the solutions is to involve the people in the conversation and not necessarily gatekeepers.
Sherene also said something I found interesting as well, and making the distinction between rural settings such as ours here in Indiana County. We are termed a rural county, as opposed to the more urban or citified, if you will, communities, and the difficulties and the problems that exist. Are they the same? Are they the same degree? How unique are rural counties such as ours in terms of the problems faced by folks as opposed to some of those other areas?
Well, racial inequity is not by just rural or urban, whatever. We do have the problem, and there are more are systemic than we know. And you, of course, you know that we briefly had a racial incident here, and we need to figure out how do we keep having those problems surface. We can look in any area of our system here and see that there are problems. Unemployment, employment of people of color is just one of the things that are going on. The name callings in our schools, that's unacceptable. So there are issues there that are there, and we need to work toward bringing people together and understanding some of the fears that they're facing, and then look toward how can we promote a healing process or a solving process. And at this point, I think that we need to bring the people together, because contact can do a lot. Contact with people of different backgrounds can do a lot, and not just the people who are proposing those programs. We don't hear from the people.
Yeah.
We don't hear from the people enough as to what are their feelings.
Coming up on Monday, NAACP of Indiana County is going to hold a Zoom event on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, and that's the subject of our conversation here this morning with Carolyn Princess and Sherene Hess. Sherene, as Carolyn put it a couple of moments ago, we hear a lot of the same voices, and we hear them a lot, but there are other voices out there that are staying silent, remaining silent, and this isn't an opportunity for folks, I don't know if you want to call them everyday folks as opposed to people who are generally out front or what, however you want to term it. This is an opportunity for everybody to be involved in the conversation.
Well, it is. It's a great opportunity for people in the community to hear others who face these incidents every day, and they're there. They really are. I mean, we might be, quote, a geographical oneness between the cities and the rural, or even within our own counties. The towns and the rural agricultural areas, out there in the countryside. But we are segregated in a lot of ways, and I mentioned those systems, and it's something to tackle. But the first thing you have to do, I think, is listen to what exactly are people feeling, experiencing for real. These aren't just feelings. They go into real experiences, and they have effects on people's lives. Our Constitution talks about life, liberty, and all of those things, those ideals, the American ideals, are so important to us all. We have to make sure, and the people that can do it have to make sure that everybody is experiencing those American ideals. Martin Luther King believed in them. He believed, he struggled with a lot, where the systems are and were, and what people were experiencing. But he believed that America could reach these ideals. In the 60s and every decade has had its incidents of racism. And we're no different. We saw that last year. We saw it really come to a head in 2020 with George Floyd. Events that happened. People came together, and it really was a beginning. And these are things that we can keep on doing, and we can do this here in rural America. We might not have all the things that are right in your face, like in the cities and so on. But we can come together, communities, businesses, organizations, and we can talk about it. And that's what we're going to do on Monday the 17th. And again, I think we should mention that if people want to get involved, it's really easy. Just go onto the NAACP Indiana County's Facebook page, or you can call one of us at 724-464-9162. I think I got that phone number right. Is that right, Carolyn? Yes. And we'll get you connected right away. And people should know, you don't have to stay for the entire thing if you can't. I know schedules are what they are.
Sure.
But, get registered and come in. It's free. It's open to all. We really, this isn't something to be fearful of. It's something to embrace, listening to each other.
And the event is at what time?
2 o'clock it begins.
It's 2 to 3:30 p.m., and so we're asking folks to give an hour of their time to become part of the solution to the problem.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that Zoom event is happening. You can go to the NAACP website, NAACP Indiana County, and you'll find the link there. And then they'll get an email right back that is going to give them the Zoom contact information?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Right.
Okay. Carolyn, a part of Martin Luther King Jr. Day as well across America is the idea of service, doing something a little bit extra in terms of service, and I know that that's really important to the Indiana community and to the Indiana County NAACP, isn't it?
Yeah, oh, yes, it is. It is called MLK. They call it the MLK Day of Service holiday, and also in Indiana County, we typically have the American Red Cross holding a blood drive, and they will continue to do that this year in the mall, Indiana Mall, from I believe it's 9 to 7 p.m. So that's where people can get involved. But there's all kinds of ways you can get involved. Whether you do a direct service with some of our nonprofit agencies, you can attend various programs that are going on in the community, or programs outside of the community. You can watch a TV program, a TV story. So there's a number of ways you can be involved. So education is the key. Education is the key to all of this.
Absolutely.
And becoming involved and becoming involved in your way, in the way that you see fit. And I just remember contact. It's that it's not fear. People fear each other because they don't have the contact with someone that is different than themselves. And as a small community, we are not distant from the rest of the community. We're not cut off from the rest of the community, the wider U.S. community, the wider Indiana community. And so we need to start dealing with these issues that are going on. Hopefully our panel will help us be able to come up with some things that we can do in this community to start promoting. We have several ideas, but I need to hear from the people from the community itself.
Yeah, and that'll be a part of that Zoom event coming up on Monday. Ladies, thanks so much. We're going to actually have the Red Cross on with us in our next hour, and we'll learn more about the blood drive. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you very much, Carolyn.
Have a great day, both of you. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS, 101.1 FM and AM 1160, 8:25 in the morning. And Boomer is here with the CBS Sports. Yes, Sports.